All right, good morning. Welcome in for another Friday Safety Focus. Today is Friday, September 26th. Good job this past week. We're able to add 7 days to our safety statistics. So let's finish the day out strong. And if we're working this weekend, let's make sure we're making safety our top priority over the weekend. This week, we wanted to highlight kind of an annual training that we've been doing.
Morning, motherfucker look pretty red to me.
We got a hot mic out there. Brad, your mic's hot. You don't want to mute yourself. Is occupational health and environmental controls, illumination. As everyone can tell, it's the days are getting shorter. The sun is arising a whole lot later, day in and day out. So I got a quick little chart here. As you can see, this is October. This is beginning of October. October is like the big month where we lose a lot of daylight. As you can see here, kind of October 1st, it's at 6:50, and then by October 25th, it's kind of cut off. It's 7:20. So in 20 days, we lose 30 minutes of daylight in the morning. So we're going to be kind of working, the first hour potentially, or definitely first half hour, kind of in the dark. So that's why we want to highlight this to plan ahead, that we're going to need to provide some lighting for these projects, especially if we're getting an early jump on the day like we like to do. There is a regulation on this. We need to have light. We can't work in the dark. It's 1926.56. So to follow our code of conduct, to work to OSHA, VOSHA, FRI, and ECI safety standards, we want to make sure we're following this regulation, that we're going to have some type of lighting in these types of areas. For us, it's mostly that outdoor area. We're going to need a minimum of 5-foot candles for kind of walking to and from job trailers and things like that. So we have a couple of tips and tricks that we'll share and what we want to do for those types of more longitude kind of projects where we're walking from a trailer to maybe where the operation site is. If it's road conditions, a lot easier just to set up light plants and those type of requirements. So road condition, road jobs, we've got to make sure that we're providing floodlights, but also our flagging stations need to be lit up. So if we do want to get out there and take a lane on a project, we got to make sure we got lights out in the morning until the sun starts rising. So we got to make sure that we're doing those things to protect our flaggers and all of us out there on the roadways. So like I said, we got about 5 weeks before we turn the clocks back and start having that morning sunshine. So plan ahead, identify potential work areas where lighting may be needed, utilize light plants or alternative lighting. Well, I'll talk about that here in a minute. And then that class 3 vest, it's going to be kind of hard. We do wear a lot of class 2 because this is kind of part of our uniform, but we want to be wearing that class 3 stuff, especially on the roadways, the right of way of a roadway or a railway, that we really stand out. The purpose is to save lives. Proper illumination will prevent workers from being struck by equipment and vehicles, as well as see potential leading edge that result in a fall. So again, same thing. If it's an open trench, working on a shoreline or a slope line on a riverbank or whatever per se, we want to make sure we can see those type of tripping, falling hazards when to be able to identify. So we got light plants out there. We got quite a bit in the backyard. If we need to rent, let's rent. Light plants should be the primary method for illumination outside our work areas. So again, plan ahead, try to put those in good area where they won't be struck by, hit by, or have to move multiple times. So again, it's kind of that pre-planning, think ahead motto that we want to be doing, baking in safety into our decision making. And then utilize the heavy equipment lighting that we have as well. Equipment and vehicle lighting, equipment and vehicles should be used to supplement light plants. So add on top with don't just rely on the light plant. Again, shadows are the biggest problem. Working at night or working in these types of lighting conditions. So try to eliminate as much shadowing as we can. And it's really hard, especially with the equipment's moving around. So it really helps with the operator, but the guys on the ground, you can't really rely on those so much. So that's why we have these that we introduced last year. Got some good positive feedback. But we got our new hard hats come with a special kind of attachment that we can add some of this lighting to it. So get with Tom or myself if you need a headlamp. We are more than happy to supply those for those projects where we really need to add extra lighting to these projects. So headlamps make workers more visible to the vehicles and equipment, especially through mirrors, especially for detailed work. You can really see what we're doing if you're cutting a pipe or hooking up a trailer, anything like that, where you really need to be able to see what you're doing. These headlamps really work well. So take advantage of it. Contact us if you need it. And then last is just reminder, as the temperatures are getting cooler, sometimes we forget to throw those vests on. So if you're just walking out here, getting out of your car and then walking to, a crew truck or just around, there's a lot of vehicles moving around. Really try to stand out, wear those vests, especially first thing in the morning. And utilize those class 3. That's those retro reflectives in the class 3 really stand out more than the class 2. So we got plenty of them here up in health and safety. If you need a class 3, just come up and see us. We're happy to hand these things out. You see Tom or myself on a job site, we have them in our vehicles. We'll dish them out. So let's utilize that safety first mantra and making sure that we're wearing our vests, we have good lighting on our projects, because over the next 5 weeks, it's going to be pretty dark first thing in the morning. Anyone want to share anything? Open up the floor. If not, it's all yours, Ben, if you're on.
Okay. Yep, I'm here.
I don't see you.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I got you. Yep. Perfect.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just don't see you. I don't see your camera.
The vests really do show up good, like when headlights shine on them and stuff at night. See if I can get this thing to share again. Let's see. Okay, it should be up now. You see the email?
We got it.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. And Tom. All right. Code of conduct item of the week is to promote the code. And that means to support and actively encourage our standards. So that's the 13th code item. So we're going to start in on number 1 again next week. So next Friday, we've got Morgan Stanley coming again to do 401k meetings. It's probably a good time if things are slowing down enough where some of you can get in. It's great to get together with Laura. Laura from Morgan Stanley is a great resource to help with all of your stuff with your 401k. So hopefully everyone can still get on. And if you haven't got on in a while, she can help you get access. And you will see that recently you had a pretty good size addition to your 401ks because we distributed another 3% of what your gross was last year as a profit sharing contribution. So if you want to give Melanie Bennett a call or email her, she can set you up for a meeting next Friday. So last week, you know that Matt Orzlak and I were out last week. We attended the NCI, the Risk Control Workshop in Pittsburgh. We take workplace safety very seriously, and we as a company are all part of a National Contractors Insurance Ltd. It's called NCI, and that covers our general liability, our workers' compensation, and our auto coverages. It's a member-owned group captive with about 280 companies like ours, and we are 1/280th of an owner. So we pay our premiums to a company that we own, and it's kind of like having a really big deductible with the actual insurance company, which is Zurich. It's $500,000. We cover ourselves all up to $500,000 in loss, and then above that, We have reinsurance from Zurich. Over some of your heads, but it's good for you guys all to know what we have here. So being part of NCI gives us greater control and transparency over our insurance costs and coverages. All these other companies are best-in-class companies. They're from all over the country. And as Matt and I discovered at our meeting, and as we always do, they all regard safety as one of their top priorities. And that's part of how we got into that captive. It's a pretty selective process. As members of the captive, we do participate in biannual workshops. So every 6 months, we go into a meeting, talk about claims, ways to handle claims, safety compliance. And we also did this time quite a few topics that involve leadership development. And it's good, good for the safety department, but it's also good for us to integrate some of the stuff that we share with the other members, with our population here. So for these workshops, we do get an allowance. I think the company receives an allowance of $1,000 for each workshop that we go to help us pay for it. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, the other companies, when they don't go, they forfeit their $1,000 and it gets divided up to the participants that went. So I believe that's correct. So
Yep.
It just gives us an incentive to go and do a bunch of learning and stuff. But also we get some points towards our scores, which ends up being money. And also it gives us a little bit of kickback for when we attend. The last one in the spring, I believe it was who went? It was Ben Heath and Tom Pigeon. Tom, you went to the last one. We got a lot of good information out of that one. That was, I believe, the one that stimulated our thoughts to get the cameras up and going in the trucks, which I believe some of that helped us to avoid people getting hurt in an accident recently, because we've been working on getting our seatbelts on.
Yep, that's correct.
So
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just in context, and it's good to be transparent and everything. Our current score in the NCI is a 98.5 out of 100. So we're a strong performer, so we want to keep it that way.
Yeah, and it's nicer to go to the meeting with a high score with all the other companies, right?
Exactly.
Feels better.
Yeah. And the way we do that is not get hurt, not get in auto accidents, prioritize safety. Everything that we talk about, we just got, instead of saying it all the time, we just got to keep doing it. Keep doing it.
Yeah, some of what we do is try to learn how to get better at communicating to everyone about safety, to be so that Tom and myself and Matt and all the other leaders that attend these can be more effective. Anything else on that, Mr. Pigeon?
It's important to remember that we're at a 98.5 right now, but it only takes one incident to kick us in a very opposite direction with that. And once you go down that route, everything gets a lot more costly. You're eating the cost of the incident and the cost of being an underperformer, and it puts us on a remedial track really quickly. So it's not what we do per se, it's what everybody out there listening does that keeps us at that high standing. So
yep, that's very true. And being part of the captive possibly can save us hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, definitely over being in a conventional insurance situation.
If we're safe.
Yes.
Safety does pay. Safety does pay.
If we're safe. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Matt. The ownership topic of the week. This one was suggested by Chico, Pat Pratt in the shop. Keep our tool trailer inventories up to date. Our small tools and equipment are important assets, and keeping track of them is essential to our operation. Some of the benefits, these are just some of them. You'll think of more, I'm sure. They provide a good record and holds us accountable for the assigned tools that are assigned to us. They prevent loss and theft by having up-to-date and accurate inventories, because we're tracking what we have in our trailers. It provides ID information especially if something gets stolen, having the serial number, and model numbers and things like that on some of the more expensive tooling allows us to get, we've had things recovered by the law enforcement, and we've also are able to recover from insurance when necessary, as long as we have a good description and a serial number. They tend to not want to really give us money for expensive things that where we don't have a good record of that we owned it and what the serial number was. It supports financial management with inventory information. Obviously, we kind of keep track of all our tools and equipment, and having the inventories helps us to figure that out when we're doing our audits at the end of the year. And most especially for out in the field, it maintains our preparedness so we can arrive on the job site with the right stuff. It boosts our quality and efficiency by having the right tools for the job, and it also ensures safety by using the proper tool for the job. As employee owners, we owe it to ourselves to take proper care of our tools and equipment. Proper tracking and inventory of our small tools and equipment supports our priorities of safety, quality, and efficiency. It also adds to our future wealth as employee owners when we take care of our stuff. So thanks for keeping track and taking care of everything. Chico wanted me to add that we make sure that when we're doing the inventories and keeping track of everything, that we make sure that it's ready to go and that it's in good shape and it doesn't need maintenance. And please reach out to the shop, anybody in the shop or the crib, if you've got some tools that need help or care. And I guess in the couple weeks coming up, we're probably also going to talk about winterization, but we'll be a little more specific on that one. Anything to add, Chico, if you're out there?
No, just we talk a lot about our equipment, our trucks and trailers, but there's major costs in these smaller things too.
Yeah.
Pictures also help. So like if you have a clean trailer, take pictures of everything, because anything we have, to keep track of our stuff helps.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Pictures are worth 1,000 words. Thank you, Chico. Anybody else? And another plug for maintenance and service is report our issues to the mechanics. And you can talk to them, you can call them, but the Fleetio app really works good for doing minor issues. I saw a truck one time, I told this story before, but I saw a truck with one of the headlights out. And so I just did the Fleetio app and it notified the shop. And then within a couple hours, they said, oh yeah, we got your report on that truck and we already got the headlight replaced. So it can save us money by not getting a ticket from DOT because we get a headlight out. So that's cool. Upcoming events, we got the the ECI/Railroad Golf Tournament. Tom Pigeon, how you doing on that one? You got it? Do you got teams yet, or do you need more?
Today is the last day to sign up and be guaranteed a slot. So
Okay.
We'll be putting together the teams later today.
Good.
And then changing them 3 times before next week as people cancel. So
Yeah. Okay. So that's coming up quick. Thank you, Tom. Let Tom know if you've got interest in that, or if you've got some, or if you're going to cancel and you've already told them you're going. We've got Family Fun Day on the 11th. That's going to be 2 weeks from tomorrow. And anyone that has signed up, be looking out for an email or communication from Elena. It's going to be a good event. It's going to be up at the Bushy Pit. We've got some employee news. Phil Forster, congratulations. He's our newest project manager, even though he's been probably doing the job for a while. I think it's a good model to do the job before you get the title, which a lot of people don't like that, but I think it's a great way to do it. He's already proven that he can do the job. So congratulations, Phil. Good job. And keep doing the good job. Don't let it go to your head. Charlie Fecto. Charlie's retiring. Today's his last day. He's been here for 27 years. So he's been here through all 3 ownership phases of ECI. He came in when Alan Pigeon owned ECI, and then he worked through Ken and Scott, their tenure, and now he is has been here just about almost getting close to a year in the phase where we're employee owned. He served us in probably every capacity that you can imagine. I wrote down some of them here. Commercial driver. He was our main equipment mover and hauler. A mechanic, specialized technician, especially with things like blowing cable. I think he was only one of 3 people that ran that cable blowing machine. I got a picture of that further down here. Good equipment operator. We're going to really miss calling him up when we need some trees felled, especially if they're in a precarious situation. We might still call him to advise, but he and his chainsaws and his trees, that's a special skill that he has. So we're going to miss that. Please stop by 98 right here between 3 and 4 if you want to wish him the best. We're going to have a little get together, informal, in this building. We'll stuff whoever comes in here out, but we want to give him a pat on the back, and maybe we can convince him to stay. And a personal note to you, Charlie. It's been a pleasure knowing and working with you. You did it right. Thanks for being a part of VCI. And here he is. I don't know. You can imagine a lot of things that he could be saying right now. You know, I'm done. I did it. How'd you like that one? Huh? I can see the pride that Charlie has whenever we go to his jobs. And I think it's fitting. I think I got this picture from Tom. I don't know where you got it, but this is or it maybe came from Jeremy Dean, but this is a great picture.
Mike Ronaldo.
Mike Ronaldo. This is a great one. We ought to get this one framed for you, Charlie. Give us a little time. Thank you for your service. We get some new employees started this week. We have this week. Actually, we have one. Gary Webster. He started this week. I saw him drop by. He was intently looking at the road, and I waved at him, but he was focusing on the right things. So, Gary, it's okay that you didn't wave back because you look intent on driving that truck in a safe manner. So, welcome, Gary. And last week, we had another driver that started. I'm going to start putting a couple weeks out there when the new people come. Few people missed some of the new people, so I'm going to have a last week session. So Jordan Cotting, he started last week. So hopefully all's going out and you got well with these guys, and you can reach out and meet them when you see them on the job site. Okay. Sorry, my computer's going slow today. I'm not touching anything, and it's proceeding. We've got the project of the week, and I believe hopefully that Nick is in a place where he can present. Nick Goudreau. Are you out there, Nick?
I am. Can you hear me, Mr. Dow?
Yeah, we can.
Perfect.
Our
Thank you very
backup
much.
plan was for me to read it, but it's better to read your own stuff, material. Can you see that okay?
I sure can.
Okay.
Alrighty. So today's project of the week is the Ilsley Public Library down in Middlebury, Vermont. ECI was contracted by ReArt Construction to provide site work and concrete work for the partial deconstruction and renovation of the existing historic library that was constructed in 1923, as well as the new construction of a 2-story, 20,000 square foot addition. Work began in the spring of 2025 and is scheduled to be completed in July of 2026. Once the demolition contractor removed the library addition down to the foundation, ECI began removal of the existing foundation in preparation for the new and much larger foundation. Some of the many challenges of this project were installing deep footings and piers so close to adjacent buildings, as well as finding ways to avoid conflicts with existing utilities, such as on such an old site where there were many unknowns. With such a large building expansion, the owner needed to change the orientation of the parking lot, which required ECI to also construct a 12-foot tall precast block retaining wall to allow for additional parking areas. Once steel is set and framing is complete, ECI will be tasked with installing new stormwater, geothermal piping, as well as new curb, sidewalk, and paving. I know Todd Nelson loved to hear that.
Yeah.
So this first picture here is just the from earlier this year, just the existing building as it stood. The structure that stayed was all the way on the left there in the white, and then the 2 gray buildings facing us those were removed and as part of the demolition contract. And
Wow.
then
Yeah.
this picture here is after the structure was down. The guys were tasked with ripping out all this concrete, and some of it was a couple feet thick, to say the least. So we had a fun time getting all that out of there. Then after the concrete was all removed, getting ready for some of our footings and piers. And some of these footings and piers were right against the adjacent buildings, and some of these adjacent buildings were not exactly in the greatest of conditions. You can see some cracks there on the wall behind this trench box of the existing movie theater there. But and some of these footings were 14 and 16 feet deep.
Wow. Oh, are those the cracks, Nick, that I see on the brick?
They sure are.
Wow.
So the guys had to use a bunch of trench boxes and shoring methods to install these footings and piers safely here.
Yep. Oh, nice.
And then on the other side of the building here, we have a decorative retaining wall with a 6-inch water service running through the retaining wall, which you can see the footings prepped all right here. And then this next picture here is after the wall was poured, and you can see that decorative concrete on the top there. That came out really, really nice. Those guys did a great job on that. And we have all sorts of existing utilities we needed to get from the front of the building to the back and run underneath the new foundation here. This is I believe it's 10-inch stormwater pipe that comes from out front. And then this next one kind of shows the an existing duct bank with the layout of the new foundation wall, which is supposed to sit directly on top of the duct bank here. So the guys had to get a little creative in order to make this work. And then got some more footings here, and some of these footings are about 4 feet thick with all sorts of rebar. And I know Michael Jerome, Paul Jerome, all those guys, they had a lot of fun tying all this bar together. And there was all sorts of under slab utilities here. We're just getting it ready before we poured the slab a couple weeks ago. And this is the start of the precast block retaining wall. Randy and Nathan got this prepped really nicely. Got a nice working pad on the bottom here. And this next picture will show the wall about 85% complete. We just have the last layer of stone to go on top here, and we're on our way.
Wow, that came out nice.
Yeah, these guys did a great job. It was really challenging project. We had a ton of guys working on the project from all various departments here, and everybody's done a great job adjusting as needed. There's been a ton of changes, and we've been rolling with the punches as best we can.
Awesome. Good job, you guys. And thank you, Nick, for putting on featuring this project this week.
Thank you, Mr. Dow, and
Appreciate it.
congratulations to Charlie.
Yeah. Hopefully he's still here. He said he was going to be here today. So here's one. This is in 2007. Remember I told you that Charlie has been a technician of a lot of different things over the years. There's Charlie explaining the finer points of blowing fiber to Al Hill. I don't know if you guys remember Al Hill. Al Hill used to be our inspector for Burlington Electric in the 80s and 90s. And then when he retired from Burlington Electric, he came to work for us. He was a master electrician. He was here probably for 4 or 5 years before he retired. His son, Dan, I believe still works for the city of Burlington. So there's Charlie explaining how to run that cable blowing machine, which I believe we still have that. I don't know when the last time we used it, but Charlie is one of the masters of that. And I think possibly Roger has run that. I know Larry Chamberlain and Charlie were two that ran it. So we're going to have to pull people out of retirement pretty soon to get someone to run that machine. So That's a good old picture right there. So thank you, Charlie, again, if you're out there, and I'll turn it back over to the safety guys. It's 7 o'clock, so we hit our target again.
Excellent. If you're watching a group setting, please send that over so we can capture this morning's attendance if you're in a group setting. Let's work safe, let's drive safe, and most importantly, let's have a great day working together.
Thank you, guys. Be safe out there. Have a good day.